that's a triple play. New episodes, I couldn't wait. Yeah, open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AOA, check me out. Look, clocked in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like life, married to it, my wife.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome back to the AOA show. I'm your host, as always, Ian, along with the boy Isaiah.
Yo, yo, yo.
And today, we're talking winter anime 2021. And I'm so happy to say 2021 and not 2020. So anyway, we're going to go over some of the anime that we're excited to watch or check out if it's something that piqued our interest, and just go through it. So
yeah, unfortunately, Gavin can't be here with us, but Weeb Time, wait for anime. There's anime to watch.
There's anime to watch. Exactly. And speaking of Gavin, the first one on our list here is actually the Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time movie. The fourth and final movie of the Evangelion Rebuild movie series. So again, Gavin, huge Evangelion fan. We've both seen it. Have differing opinions on what it's all about, but damn if they don't pump out those movies like like movies on movies on movies, like stacks on stacks. So I know that Gavin would probably be interested in this, hence why it's on this list. But I mean, if it is the final movie, it does seem like it'd be something that's interesting. But that's really all I have to say about this one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting because like them being like, this is the final movie. It's like the last movie is like, I don't know, in a way, like that's the, you know, that like was the ending. But it's like, I was saying before, like off camera, it's like this property, Evangelion, is so big that like they weren't going to just stop like and be done, especially because they've been like making brand deals and like advertising and shit, like just on with other products and stuff, like since the movie and the anime stopped. So I don't know. It seems like only a matter of time, in my opinion, that like something like this was going to come up. But nonetheless, I am an Evangelion fan, and I do plan on watching this when it comes out.
Yes. What's the next one on your list?
All right, next one on my list is actually a little bit of a sleeper, and I'm not gonna lie, it's on my list, and so it's called Yuru Camp. It's the second season. Everything on my list, by the way, is a sequel anime, something continuing, because like this whole season is just stacked with fucking like sequel anime. But this is really just like a guilty pleasure of mine. It's like a feel good slice of life moe anime that like I don't really know too much about. And I mean, to be honest, there's not much going on in it. It's literally like a bunch of high school girls like go traveling on adventures and go out camping and stuff, and like just kind of hang out in the wilderness and like be with each other and be be with nature, and like, it's just fun and cute and wholesome. And sometimes when I get home and I'm like, the world is broken and everybody's going to die alone, I turn on some Yuru Camp and I'm like, oh, you know what? Well, we could try it again tomorrow, you know? That's it.
A shimmer of hope.
In the darkness, if there ever was.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely. All right, next one, you already know.
その名はエレン・イエーガー 今ここに宣言します。パラディ島敵勢力へ宣戦布告を。
Attack on Titan, baby! Season 4. If you guys have been following the channel, which I hope you have. If not, subscribe. But we've been following Attack on Titan, and wow, has this been incredible. My personal opinion so far, the show is just incredible. This story is incredible. So Season 4 has not been disappointing so far. Super excited.
Final season.
But yeah, for anyone that's not on this, like I feel like I don't even have to read a synopsis really, but for anyone who's not on this show yet and they're looking for something new to watch, I do highly recommend it. Bit of a slow burn at first, but man, is the payoff worth it. And by the time you get to where we are now, it's just like,
oh yeah, you already,
explosions. It's just like your mind is mush. But anyway, yeah, super stoked for this one. This probably is the biggest anime that I was looking forward to -- will continue to look forward to week by week out of all of the ones that we have on this list, and, potentially this entire year already. The way I see it, to be honest, like it's gonna, I mean, provided this does as well as I think it's going to, it'd be pretty hard to top this one for me, but Attack on Titan, watch it. It's fan-flippin-tastic. All right, What's the next one you got?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, next one I have on my list is Cells at Work. So interestingly enough, Cells at Work, the second season, is coming back in January, but there's also a new spin-off of Cells at Work that I'm also semi-interested in checking out, which is called Cells at Work, Cells at Work Black, which is, so the premise for the original, like, Cells at Work is that, like, it's basically Ozzy and Drix, but in anime form. So, like, all the different things inside the body are like different characters, and it's like all about them working together, and like you learn about how the human body functions, and they use dramatizations and character versions of these things to tell you like what's up with the body. But like that story takes place in I believe it's like I forget. I think it's like a middle school girl, or it's like a relatively healthy young girl or something. Cells at Work Black takes place in like the flip of that, where it's, so first off, they gender bend the two main characters. So in the original Cells at Work, it's a male white blood cell and a female red blood cell. Cells at Work Black, it's the opposite. So female white blood cell, male red blood cell, but the body that they're like inhabiting is this like mid-20s like alcoholic, like high, but like just the worst kind of like health body like that could be possible. Which I think, one, because Cells at Work is obviously a comedy, or has comedic elements rather, is just great. I think it's such a good idea to take it in that like dark humor kind of aspect, and see what all kinds of crazy things can go wrong with the body. But I did really love the Cells at Work. The first season, I admittedly did not fit. I didn't watch every episode, but I did watch most of them. I just really liked it. It really, there's another show on my list that we'll get to that is very educational based, that this feeds into as well. It's just like you sit down and like you watch it and you have some fun laughs, but like you do actually learn some stuff.
Hell yeah. Speaking of which, getting on to the next one, if you actually want to take the next one, because you have way more on your list than I do, so you might as well do two in a clip.
So, all right, my next one is another one of my favorite guilty pleasures, the Quintessential Quintuplets. So when we talk about wholesome harem anime, this is the first one to me that comes up. It's just so good. So like, again, for those of you who don't know, so this is they're getting the second season. For those of you who don't know, Quintessential Quintuplets, basically you got your main protagonist here who gets a job as a tutor, and I believe it's his, everything in between. But it's like actually like, so there's not, I don't know. So harem anime in general, I think, gets a lot of flack for being like mindless, stupid fan service, and that exists. Like there is that. But like I said, this is a pretty good and just like a wholesome harem. Like it really does do a lot to flesh out the characters of each of the five girls, as well as the protagonist. I mean, he's a little bit like, of your plain Jane harem protagonist, but it works. I think like the chemistry that he has with each of the individual daughters works, and the chemistry even that they have with each other, and like you learn and actually end up caring about this whole cast instead of like just waiting for the protagonist to maybe or maybe not bang one of them. It's pretty cool, and it's getting second season, and I cannot wait for it.
Hell yeah,
100%.
All right, so next one on my list, fan favorite amongst us, and that is the Promised Neverland Season 2. Yes! So excited for this.
It's happening.
This, again, I mean, I said it with Attack on Titan, but this one too, if you followed our channel for a while, not even just recently, I'm talking from the beginning, this was a show that we had covered, at least the episodes that we were able to cover when we started this whole thing. But, and it was just fantastic across the board. I mean, I know Gavin loves this one too, so might be one of his favorites. But yeah, this is just something that I'm super stoked for. After we left on what we left on with season one, it's where do we go from here? Like this whole can of worms got opened. Like it was crazy. You don't know what is, what's real anymore. Like who's good, who's bad. And just seeing how these kids are going to navigate, past that. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen season one, but hot damn, is this show good, and it's just different, my personal opinion, than a lot of the things that we have seen as of recently.
It's a little funny to me because it's like, so, again, I'm going to remain vague, but like season one, the way season one operates, I imagine anybody getting into the show now, it's like you watch the season one and it's like, oh, the whole premise of like, are they going to get out of here? And you're like, oh, there's a season two, so probably. But like I do think how they get there is still genuinely good enough of a story on its own that like
100%.
and also it's 12 episodes, not that large for
No.
a season to tackle. And yeah, second season's coming out January. It's gonna be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, this is gonna be nuts.
100%. All right, so I'm gonna move on to my next one, which is the part 2 of season 2 of Re:Zero. Now, I said before that Yuru Camp is an anime that I like to watch when I'm depressed and just feel like nothing's worth anything in the world. This is an anime that makes me feel like I watch Re:Zero, which makes me feel like that, and then I have to watch Yuru Camp because Re:Zero is just such a gritty, dark, depressing take on the isekai genre. Again, in terms of like relating it to Quintessential Quintuplets, in the fact that it takes the genre that it does or that it's in and like does everything it can to subvert expectations of what you expect going into that. Like, you know, Subaru is supposed to be the main character, supposed to be like or not supposed to be, but rather you would expect him as he gets isekai'd into this new world to be like, you know, this like random otaku nerd guy who's like, oh, I'm gonna see if I can find me like a waifu and like get some super cool powers or weapons. But you quickly find out that in season 1, again, I'm not going to get into spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it because as fucked up as this show is, I genuinely think it is a phenomenal piece of storytelling and it's absolutely worth watching. The new world he gets in does not treat him any nicer, if not even worse than the original real world that he comes from. And so he like literally has to grow up and like learn what it means to be a good person, because he's that's the other thing, is he's not your typical protagonist. He's not this like super buoyant, happy, good guy. Sure. He's kind of a dick, and like, you know, like most of us around that age. And yeah, it's just really, again, like the subverting. One of the things I love just in general about anime, especially like because I've seen so much of it, is when like shows try their best to step outside of like that line of whatever it is that they're in, whether it's their genre, their, you know, the archetype of a character, what have you. And Re:Zero has always, and I feel like will always continue to do that. So,
damn, raving remarks. Hit us with the next one. What do you got?
So next one I have is another season 2. It is another isekai also. It is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It's getting its second season. This was another one that like, so this one I really like because it you know, season 1 talking about like did a good balance for me. If Re:Zero was something that like pushed me out of my comfort zone as far as isekai goes, this was something that like nudged me out, but like didn't require me to jump off the ledge, so to speak. And it was like, all right, you know, we'll twist a couple things here and there, but like, this is an isekai anime through and through, and we'll give you, you know, what you want, which for me is like super cool fantasy world, waifus, and like a pretty like interesting power system. So again, for people who don't know, Reincarnated as a Slime, basically main character gets isekai'd into this new fantasy world, but he gets reincarnated as a literal like slime ball. And he basically only has one ability, which is he can absorb whatever, like he can absorb anything and like then take on the powers of the thing he absorbs, which pretty much doesn't really end up helping him until he meets this super like OP dragon that's just like hiding out in this cave and absorbs it, and now he's basically like the most busted like character in the entire world. And it's about him collecting this group of, you know, characters and stuff, but like he ends up going, it's just the way that this story goes from, you know, random ball of slime who's like nothing and nobody in this world. He absorbs this dragon, and now not only is he super busted in an OP, but because of that, ends up like running and learning how to like build his own kingdom. Like he's literally in charge, like, you know, like running this whole like, you know, ecosystem of characters, and it's really it's dope.
Okay,
I can't wait.
Hell
Absolutely
yeah.
Can't wait.
All right, so last one on my list here, and that is the second season as well. It is the second season of Beastars. So this one was on Netflix, and really, I didn't realize how popular this was for manga. This was a very popular manga, and we watched it on Netflix, and it was pretty good. I liked it. It was definitely different. We talked about it on one of our episodes a while back, and after that, I started seeing it pop up everywhere in terms of discussions that had to do with the show or the manga as well. So it seems like they're firing it up for round 2 in terms of its adaptation, and if the manga is, you know, indicative of anything, this should be good so long as they adapt it accordingly. So yeah, I mean, the last season ended off, we had well, it's weird. This is an interesting show because it's like it has this like slice of life element, but it also, because they're animals, has this interesting dilemma with like how they're supposed to conduct themselves in daily life, like differently than like a normal human would. And then also has these like big action moments too, because these are predatory animals or prey animals, you know? So
Right,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
these weird moments of action and stuff like that. And they mix it together pretty well with an interesting premise. So season 2 is hitting us soon. And this is one that I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be interested in checking out.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I love the most about this is I did not go into the first season with any expectations at all,
Yes.
especially high ones. I was like, this is going to be a goofy, like anime about animals being, humanoid animals, and like they're just gonna like, it's like animals in school, ha ha ha. But like the way that it gets like real and dark, and the pace that it takes to get there, is actually surprising. And the way that it strings together this whole idea of like animals who already sort of have their own ecosystem and structure as far and hierarchy and stuff like that, implementing that and mixing it with our structure in the way that like we, as humans run our society, like it innately sort of really highlights all of the flaws like of each of those systems, and like how they like don't work initially but like together, and it like but like through some of the characters, Legoshi and Haru, specifically, because their whole thing is about like breaking out of them, like, because I'm X animal, that doesn't define what I want or who I am, I was definitely like, I walked away from this anime with, higher expectations than I went in.
Sure.
And I'm pumped for this season. Also, for a CGI like exclusive anime,
Yes.
this looked good.
Which for anyone who knows me, that's something that I generally detest, but I have to say, all things considered, they did do it pretty well for having CGI.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, so the last anime that I have on my list is none other than Dr. Stone.
このストーンワールドのアダムとイブになってやる。そうするぜ、これは。
Dr. Stone is a one of my favorite animes, one of my favorite newer animes that's come out, because again, in the realm of Beastars, I know like what to expect going in. I had some friends at the time, like when the adaptation got announced, that were like, oh, let's you gotta check out Dr. Stone. Like, this shit is popping. And like I was like, okay, what's it about? And they were like, check it out. This dude who's like the definition of big brain, like the world gets rolled back into the Stone Age and he's got to fix it. And I'm like, all right, dude, I'm not like here to go to school though. Like, where is it, like, whatever. So I don't know. I went in kind of thinking, funny enough, again, like I was saying before, relating it to something like Cells at Work, that it was just going to be like a preachy anime that was like, oh, you should do this and strive for it. Like, but it's like the way that it incorporates. So, but what threw me off about this actually is like the way my friends had described it to me at the time. This is a shonen anime. And so I'm like, oh, okay, do they like learn to build dope weapons and stuff? And he's like, no, it's like a shonen anime, but like the emphasis really is not on fights. It really is on, and after having watched and subsequently fallen in love with the first season, I can agree that as a shonen anime, I love this show because, again, like I said, me personally, one of the things I love is when shows take an effort and successfully go outside of the conventional norms of their genre. This is a shonen anime through and through, but you're not going to find like heavy battle over heavy battle every episode. It's not what this is about. This is about what it would take to literally rebuild civilization, like take it from our current generation if we got rolled back like way into the Stone Age again, basically. And like, granted, Senku is the definition of a messiah figure in that he literally knows everything. Like everything that they're going to need to get back there is in his head. He knows it, and it's just a matter of obviously like him getting the correct crew together and the tools and like learning, trial and error. And it's also like I'm not like an intelligent person, I would say, by any means, but I do love like science. I love like experimenting like in the scientific method and all that stuff, and it does very heavily weigh into that and sort of delve into like the fun aspect of learning, which is something that's so cool to me because I wasn't that kid in school, who liked learning. So like the fact that this anime makes me think that I'm like, yo, like, all right, science popping, like science is pretty cool. It's like, it's just so good. And also the OPs and EDs and the OSTs that this show has.
Fantastic. It is pretty cool to see the implementation of said scientific method and like how he gets there.
Yeah.
Style, I do like that as well. It's pretty cool. But Anyway, folks, those are all of the anime that we're excited to either check out or watch this upcoming season.
Yes.
We are stacked.
That's a lot, yeah.
We are stacked. It's going to be awesome, and hopefully you guys join us for the ride. But yeah, man, it's some pretty awesome things to come. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our video today. Let us know in the comments below what anime that you're looking forward to, or ones that you're willing to check out. Maybe ones that you didn't know of before watching this video and now want to check them out. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, sharing with your friends as well. And also check out Dr. Bonehead's channel. He has the next part of our Tower of God ranking series coming out today, later tonight, where you can check out the top moments in the pre-workshop battle of Tower of God Season 2 of the webtoon. So definitely go check that out. But yeah, until next time, folks, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the flip. Peace.
Peace.
Ninjas are samurais, blaze of the kunais. Find me in the leaf of the cloud, screaming out Bankai. We just some ghouls though, who like seeing parts fly.